A congregant at church where I attend informed me last Sunday that he and his wife have bought a Eurorail pass in order to travel through Europe next year and knock some things off their bucket list, so to speak. And so a couple of things have come up for those of you who have not traveled to Europe or have not yet made aware of changes for 2024 for European travel that might help you manage your expectations, save some money, and plan ahead for a successful venture. Carl came to me because he knows I go to Europe not as often as a lot of people, but often enough that it's more than him, and that I will do multi-city trips, multi-country trips, which is exactly the kind of trip he wanted to make. So there are three caveats to his story I want to bring up. Number one, he's flying into Heathrow. The Eurorail pass is for the continent only in the Eurozone. So it covers, essentially, as I understand it, unlimited trains and public transportation inside member nations of the United Nations on the continent of Europe. So if you want to go to England, you will have to pay to cross the channel. The trains that operate inside the Eurozone do not cross the channel. There is Britain, I guess, has its own rail system to go across the English Channel. So you'll have to pay an additional fee to take the train between England and France. That was unexpected to him. His wife is upset. It sort of makes sense because the English are, after all, the ones who built the channel. Nobody else did. And French people don't usually leave France, so it doesn't really surprise me that they didn't pay for the channel. Number two, as of January 1 of next year, I'll put the link below, you will need to pre-authorize yourself to travel in Europe. It's a small fee. I think it's like $11. It's good for 7 years, but you'll have to pay it starting arrival in January 1 of next year before you come. And they say to give yourself like 90 days. So if you're planning a trip and you don't have one yet, now's the time to get one. And this is in addition to your passport, because it's some sort of security measure that they're implementing in order to help pay for the security measures that they have that we've been paying for in our tickets for years as Americans. Number three, as of January 1, many member nations in the Eurozone are no longer going to stamp your passport. They're going to scan it. So there are people who over the past, 5 or 10 years, including my friend's wife, who want to collect passport stamps in their passport. As of January of next year, the rumor is, I'll put the link to this in below the video as well, that you will no longer be having your passport stamped in and out of Europe. It sort of makes sense. When you cross the lines between countries, they don't stop you. This caused some consternation last year when I was in Spain because I got into Spain without any passport control, and the guy in Barcelona was angry about it until I explained to him I crossed the border on a train from Portugal. That's the whole point of having the European Union, is that there isn't any kind of international checks required going between member nations, sort of like we have going from state to state. You can drive from Colorado to Utah and they don't stop you and harass you. I mean, if you try to go to California, they'll stop you and look for produce. But that's pretty much the only control that we have on an interstate basis. And so Europe's sort of trying to adopt the same sort of paradigm between member states, even though they don't share a language like we do with everyone except for Tennessee and Boston. But those are some major changes that might influence your travel and your travel goals. So keep in mind where you want to go, because if you buy a Eurorail pass, make sure the countries you want to go to are covered by the pass. Number two, make sure that you prepay for the permission slip, essentially, to go to Europe. And number three, be aware that if you're trying to get a stamp from every country, that's no longer going to be possible. I like this personally because I meet lots of girls who are like braggadocious about all the countries they've been to. And last year I went to Portugal and Spain, but I went to several different provinces of Spain that used to be independent countries because that's what I wanted to do. I should have gone to Andorra while I was there, but I was a cheapskate because there's otherwise no reason to go to Andorra. Everyone's just sort of ignored it since Rome and just left it there. But I can't really think of any reason to go there except to get a stamp in my passport, which of course is now moot. So just some things to keep in mind as a traveler, travel tips, because that's sort of something that I do, keeping people up to date. Also, if you're planning on going to Germany right now, and I think it's just in Berlin, There's a rail strike of some sort affecting Deutsche Bahn and public transit in the region. It's supposed to be wrapped up here soon, but that's assuming, of course, they come to a mutually agreeable solution to the strike. Other than that, you'll have to seek out other modes of transportation and or walk if you're going to go into Germany. Doesn't seem much like Germany to me, but I guess Germans are people just like everyone else. Anyway, that's my tip for the day. Stay safe out there. Godspeed. Watch your back, and get out there and enjoy all the things the world has to offer.